Hello everyone, it's Heather, and I decided it's time for another life update video. I realized that I never gave you an 18-month update on my ankle injury, and I have been to the doctor and had several things happen since the last time I made an update video about my ankle. So there's two things I want to update you about in this video. The first is what's the status of my ankle injury. And the second thing I want to update you on, since this fits in perfectly after our moving series, but before our next series of travel vlogs, which are coming up very soon, I can squeeze this video in to let you know how we're doing since we've moved into our new home. We've lived here probably about almost 2 months now, so I can give you a little bit better assessment of what we think of the place. Okay, so first let me tell you about my ankle. Okay, the first thing I want to tell you is it really hasn't changed at all. My ankle has not changed. I am basically completely convinced that the way my ankle is now is the way my ankle is always going to be, unless it gets worse with time and age maybe, and that there really isn't anything they can do to fix it. And what I would really like is for the doctors just to bluntly say that. I really wish one of the doctors would just say, your ankle is wrecked, there's nothing we can do to fix it, and this is just how it's going to be now. Because that seems to be what they're saying without actually saying that. I don't know if they're not allowed to say that. They know it doesn't work right, and they know it's totally damaged, but they don't ever, they just kind of leave me hanging. So, okay, I went to a different who was highly recommended to me by several people. I didn't particularly like him either, honestly. I'm looking for someone who's a little bit more personable, who has a little bit better bedside manner, if you will, who actually kind of talks to me and really genuine. I don't know, I just haven't liked either of these doctors that I've gone to very much. And maybe it's because they're surgeons and they're just, I don't know. But he took new x-rays of my right ankle because it had been a while since I'd had any kind of a scan. And he had an emergency room doctor with him the day that I saw him, which was kind of nice for me because he was explaining everything to the emergency room doctor. I think the emergency room doctor was following along so he could recognize certain kinds of injuries that he might encounter in the emergency room. And so the doctor, the podiatrist, was explaining to him, okay, she has this, and he was using the language, and he was showing him the x-ray, and he was, and I got to see the x-ray, and he was showing him the different manual tests he can do on my leg and my ankle to feel for certain things, and kind of explaining that. And so from that perspective, it was helpful because I got to hear him explaining it to another doctor, kind of getting more of the medical side of it. We got in kind of a little bit of not an argument, but just, he was very surprised. I don't know. He wasn't surprised that my original doctor hadn't done anything. And I was kind of frustrated about that for obvious reasons. And I guess that what I was kind of getting at was, should he have done something? But he obviously didn't want to go there because it was too late and it didn't matter. And he kind of defended the other doctor to me a little bit because they know each other, and so that wasn't really very productive or helpful. The main thing was, and I could visibly see it on the x-ray, is that my two leg bones, my tibia and my fibula, are too far apart now. So the structure, if you will, the syndesmosis, which is it's hard to explain. It's a thing in your leg and your ankle that it's a joint, but it's really hard to explain, and I don't even completely understand it. And that being damaged, and the combination of the different ligaments that I tore, he confirmed I tore 4 different ligaments very badly. And like we've talked about in the past, ligaments don't heal well because they don't have a good blood supply. So there isn't really anything you can do to heal ligaments. You can't replace them really. You can't fix them. They can't even, there's not even really any surgery they can do. And even if they do, it still doesn't help very much because, again, they don't have a good blood supply, so they don't heal. The other doctor had kind of left me with the impression of, oh, with enough time, this is going to heal. Well, obviously it's not. It hasn't changed in well over a year. This doctor said, it's as healed as it's ever going to heal. So he kind of, put the kibosh on that, said, no, that's not an issue. The issue is it's extremely damaged, and it's permanently damaged. My ankle is, and there's nothing they can really do about it. But since I was going to him for a second opinion, and since I'm obviously suffering from the injury and it makes life very difficult for me, he did want to try some things. Unfortunately, the 3 things he said, let's try this, were completely pointless. Okay, the first thing he did was prescribe me what my understanding was a very powerful anti-inflammatory medicine. But when I got the medicine from the pharmacy, it had a ton of warnings on it about do not take this if there's anything wrong with your heart. And I have a serious congenital heart defect, and so I was without a cardiologist at the time. I still kind of am. I haven't seen the new cardiologist yet. My cardiologist retired during the pandemic. And so I haven't had a cardiology appointment in like 3 years, and I really need to get that done. I knew my cardiologist, if I had one, would say, no, you do not take that medicine. So I didn't take the medicine because it had warnings all over it about heart and kidney stuff. And I've also had issues with my kidneys. And at the time, I had just had a physical with my doctor, my regular doctor, and she was concerned there was something wrong with my kidney function because my labs came back all weird. We did end up repeating that lab later, and it turned out she thinks it was just a fluke and I might have been like dehydrated that day or something, and it turned out that the kidneys were fine. But I do have a history of kidney stones, and I still have stones in my kidneys. So the combination of the warnings about the heart stuff and the kidney stuff, I was not comfortable taking that medicine, so I didn't even take it. I just took it to the medication drop box at the police department right away. Never took a single pill. The second thing he said, let's try, was he gave me another brace. It was exactly like the brace I already had. I wore it all day for 7 days straight, and it made my ankle worse. It was much harder to walk and to get up and down the stairs with the brace on. Something about the positioning of how it is on my foot or whatever, my ankle, it did make it feel like a little more stable on the right side, when I had it on. But somehow with the way it holds my foot in place or something, it made my like Achilles tendon area, like the back, I was in horrible pain. That was totally new. That doesn't have anything to do with my injury. And so I didn't like it at all. And I even called the nurse after the first day or two and said, is it supposed to feel like this? And I'm having trouble. And she was like, oh yeah, just, and she didn't really tell me anything. So after a week, I gave up because I'm like, this is horrible. Well, then in the meantime, the third thing he wanted to try was he sent me to physical therapy. Well, the first doctor had said, physical therapy, I'm not saying, because I'd asked him, should I have physical therapy? And he said, no, because they can't do anything for you. He said, there's nothing they can do for you at physical therapy that you can't do at home. He was right about that, okay? Physical therapy was a complete and total waste of time. The last visit I had with my initial doctor, he had said when he distracted my ankle where he pulled on it, he had said, if you can't do that yourself at home, call us and we'll refer you to physical therapy because they can do it for you. Okay? Well, when I then went to physical therapy because the second doctor sent me there, I asked about them distracting my ankle and they didn't do it. And he goes, oh yeah, you can, like hang a soup can off your foot or something and just do that if you feel like it, kind of thing. And he didn't actually try doing it. And so I'm like, it had actually helped when the first doctor did it to me in the office. And so I was kind of frustrated about that he didn't even bother. When I went to physical therapy, he actually redid the brace for me at my second visit in such a way that it felt a lot better having it on and like walking around in it. But I could never replicate the way he put it on me myself at home. So I finally just gave up on the brace because it was a pain to get it on and it was really difficult to get off. And it did not make my foot feel better. And it made it harder for me to walk around and get up and down the stairs. So I just gave up on it. And physical therapy was stupid. He didn't really do anything. I mean, all he was looking at was like the motion of my foot. Can I move it up and down? Which I already could. He said, well, maybe we can increase this way a little bit. Like that matters. That doesn't do anything for me. And one of the things he said at my first visit was, I told him, I said, this has really been devastating for me because my main form of exercise and how I kept thin, because I've gained weight since I got injured and all this, is walking. I used to walk like 2 miles a day, and my daughter, goes for daily walks, and I can't go with her anymore. And his response to that was, well, maybe here in physical therapy, we can come up with an alternative exercise for you other than walking. So basically he was saying, you're not going to be able to walk for exercise. And so let's find something else that you can do instead. Well, that completely defeated the purpose of my being there. The only reason I would go to physical therapy was if they were going to be able to do something to improve my ankles' functionality so that I could do the things I used to be able to do again. And those main things are walking fast or running. I can't walk fast. I can't run. I can't jog. I can't hop. I can't skip. I can't jump. I can't do those things at all. I can walk fine, but I can't go very fast at all. I walk slower than a normal paced adult at this point. And I used to be a very fast paced adult walker. So that's been hard. And then standing is unbearable. I cannot stand in one spot for more than like 30 seconds really, and I have to sit down or move. I don't know what it is about standing, but standing is just awful. And that goes back to when we went to Disneyland, like that day we had to stand in line so long in Jungle Cruise, and I was just in agony. Standing is really, really bad. And so I definitely couldn't ever have some kind of job that would require me to stand at all. Getting down the stairs, up is okay, but getting down, I've pretty much on the cruise ship, which these videos are coming up, I would go on the left side of the stairs, and I have to go down sideways with my left foot first and hold on to the rail in front of me. I could go down kind of quickly, not as quick as I would have been able to walk down normally, but unfortunately, if I did it like that, but unfortunately then I'm getting in people's way and stuff. So, but it's really kind of a pain on the cruise ship when you always have to be taking the elevator up or down. But like what would happen a lot of the times is I would take the elevator down and the kids would go down the stairs real fast and be waiting for me at the bottom. So because it's going down that I can't do. Driving I can drive fine. It's just really painful, especially if I have to press the brake. And so I've pretty much, which brings me to the next thing, I've pretty much made an accommodation for myself by using my left foot on the brake, or by putting it in park at every opportunity when if I'm going to be there longer than a few seconds, I put it in park. I was supposed to go back to that doctor in 4 weeks after having 4 weeks of physical therapy, which I did not have, because the first week that they were supposed to see me, they didn't have any openings. And then I went the second week, and then I didn't go anymore because it was completely pointless. All he was doing was like, okay, move your foot up and down. Okay, slide your foot back and forth on the floor. I mean, it was like the first doctor said, there was absolutely nothing they were doing that I couldn't do myself at home, and none of it helped me or made any difference whatsoever. So that was pointless. And then we moved, and I couldn't get there because we were so busy with the move and everything, and I couldn't get there the rest of the time. And then because we were in the middle of moving, I couldn't make it back to my 4-week appointment with the doctor. And so I rescheduled it for like a week later. And then on that day, I was all excited to go to the doctor for my follow-up visit and tell him none of these things worked and and all that. And they called me, it was only like an hour or two before I was supposed to go to my appointment, and told me that he had been called into surgery and my appointment was canceled. And so I've never gone back. And I do want to go back for 2 main reasons. I'm just not in any rush to do it because it's obvious he can't do anything for me. There's 2 main reasons I want to go back. One is just because I want to make sure I'm showing Social Security that I'm following through with everything. I've watched a bunch of videos by a Social Security disability attorney, and he's made it very clear that it's very important that you go to all of your scheduled appointments and all of that to help you with your disability case. So I want to go for that reason. Oh, I should mention, I took the Social Security disability medical forms that they want the doctor to fill out with me to the appointment, and he wouldn't fill them out. He said, well, I've only seen you this one time, and I'm not going to do that. And he kind of just shoved the paperwork away from me. So that wasn't helpful. So he obviously wasn't going to fill that out. So great. I mean, you can win your case without it, but it really, really helps if you have a doctor. But I mean, I don't blame him, honestly. I mean, it was like 20 pages long. So anyway, the other reason I want to go back to him is because I want to extend the disability parking permit, the disabled parking permit that he gave me. I mean, he didn't give it to me. He wrote me a note, which I took to the Department of Motor Vehicles, and the Department of Motor Vehicles issued me the permit. It expires at the end of October. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you the 4 things that have actually helped me. And I think it's going to be evident to you that the reason these 4 things have helped me is because they represent my acceptance of the fact that my ankle is permanently damaged. I am disabled now, and I need to be making accommodations for myself to make my life easier and be able to function, okay? It's apparent that there's nothing medically they can do for me. And so I need to adjust things in my life to make things easier so that I can function better and so that I have less pain. These are the 4 things that have helped me the most. Number 1 is what I talked about already with driving. When I drive, I need to use my left foot on the brake. And I don't mean when I'm actually in traffic. I still use my right foot then when I'm only having to press like briefly. It's when I have to hold the brake. Holding the brake at a stop sign, holding the brake at a stoplight, holding the brake in a drive-through lane or something like that, when I have to have it pressed for an extended period of time. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but it is harder to press the brake than it is to press the gas. Even pressing the gas hurts, but it doesn't hurt as bad as pressing the brake. And so if I have to hold that for more than a couple seconds, I need to switch it to my left foot. My regular doctor kind of freaked out about that because she's like thinking from a safety perspective. But then either the second podiatrist or his nurse pointed out lots of people use their left foot to drive. They're like, if you have a manual transmission, if you are a race car driver, if you are a mail carrier delivering a rural mail route, they're driving with their left. So she was like, or he, whoever said that was like, don't worry about that. That's fine. You're making an accommodation for what works for you so you can still drive. The second thing that really, really helped going with the driving is that he gave me that disabled parking permit. That has been huge because one of the things that was really preventing me from being able to get out and about and to like run errands and do things was that I would have to walk so far from the car, like into a store. Sometimes in the store, I'll get an ECV, a scooter, a mobility scooter. If I go to I've done that lots of times. If I go to Target or Walmart or something, if there's one there and my ankle's particularly bad that day, I will get the scooter and do my shopping that way. But I still have to get from the car to the store and back again. And that distance would sometimes just do me in. And so having that disabled parking permit has been a huge blessing. And it's really been nice and convenient, like just all the time, so that we can just park quick and easy because there's almost always 99% of the time, there's a disabled parking spot empty. And so I can just go there right away and put my parking permit up on my mirror and I'm there. So that's been a huge help. So I'm really hoping I can get a permanent one because obviously this isn't getting any better. And I think they have to be, I think they're 6 months. So I don't want to have to keep going every 6 months. I'm hoping I can get one that's just all the time. And I don't know if that can come from the doctor or if that has to come from Social Security declaring me disabled. I'm not sure. Does anybody know how that works? Can you get a permanent disabled parking thing? Or maybe you have to get a disabled plate? I don't know. So if anybody knows about that, can you leave that in the comments below for me? That would be really great. Okay, then the other 2 things that have really actually helped. Number 1 was a big one, but this was pretty major, was selling our house and moving. Because in my new home here, I don't have any stairs. There's not even a step up into the house or anything. It's all flat and level with the ground. So I have no steps now. Everything is all on one floor. We do have a basement, but I don't go down there. I mean, even Megan and Ben have only gone down there like 2 times. So not having any steps, my ankle, I really don't have any pain anymore on a daily basis. So I really feel like having to go up and down the steps all the time in our old house was, you know, I don't know if it was making the injury worse or if it was just causing me pain or what, but it wasn't good. And so the fact that I don't have to do that anymore, I kind of actually, like when I'm just around home, I kind of forget that I have the injury actually, because I don't have to deal with the steps anymore. And so it's not really a problem. So having no steps and being all on one floor has been huge. And then along with that, the fourth thing was when we set up my bedroom here, which I'm in my bedroom right now, and I was deciding where to put my furniture. Even though when I'm in bed, I much prefer my nightstand to be on my right side. That's where I had it before, and I much prefer that. I just like having my lamp and my books and everything on my right side, and my tissues and stuff. Even though I prefer that, I rearranged it, and so it's the other way, and I put it on my left side because that's also the side I get in and out of the bed on. Are you guys like that? You get in and out on the side that the nightstand is on. Okay, so even though I like it over here, I did it the other way so that I would be getting out of bed with my left foot first. Because at our old house, I was getting out of bed every time with my right foot first. And that's a very simple, minor thing. That sounds like it's no big deal. But when you are, especially when you're getting out of bed, because you're putting your weight on the floor and then making yourself stand up and putting the whole weight of your body on that foot or that ankle. And so just the way I was getting out of bed before, where my right foot was down first, was enough that it pretty much kind of ruined me for the day. And so this has made a big difference too, because now I'm getting out on this foot first. And so you just automatically must put more weight on that side or whatever. And so that's made a really big difference. At some point here, maybe here in July, or otherwise it's going to have to be, we're going to be gone. So it'll maybe in September, sometime before that disabled parking permit that he gave me expires, I will go back to the doctor and tell him what I just told you, that none of the stuff he suggested did anything, but that these accommodation type things really help me, and just see where we can go with that. And if I can get another disabled parking permit and stuff like that. So that's what's happening with my ankle. Okay, part 2 of this video is how are we doing in our new home? Okay, you may remember from our moving series, which just went up, that I wasn't real excited about this place. It's fine, okay? And because of the things I just said about my ankle, that's really good. And there are, I would say, okay, I'm going to say 5 positive things, and then I don't even know how many negatives there are, but I'm going to tell you the good stuff first, and then I'm going to tell you the bad stuff. Okay. The good stuff are pretty major, big, good things that are really, really nice. Okay, one, this isn't one of my top ones, but Ben pointed this out. It's very, very quiet here. It's extremely quiet. When we first moved in, we actually thought we'd gone deaf because it's so quiet. Now, I've adjusted to it a little bit. When we first moved here, we couldn't even hear birds outside or trucks going by or anything. We can't hear the highway. Like, it's weird. But now that we've been here a while, we realized if you really listen, we can hear things outside. So, but it's very, very quiet here. There's just a lot less noise and sound out here in the country than there was in the neighborhood where we lived before. And it's very, very private. You don't see the coming and going of your neighbors here the way we did at our old place. I don't really care about that, honestly, but Ben pointed it out that for a lot of people that could be a positive. Another thing we really, really do like here is our fireplace. And we have used it several times, even though we're in summer now. Having the gas fireplace that you can just turn on with a switch is really nice. And it does warm the room, and it's really pretty and cozy, and we really like it. So I like having the fireplace. Okay, and then the 3 big ones, which are really huge and major things. And actually, there's kind of a 4th one. One is the thing I already mentioned. The fact that there are no stairs, that it's all on one level, that it has made such a huge difference for my ankle. That is huge. That is a major, benefit of the place that we live now. I will add though, that just personally, I don't like having the bedrooms on the main floor. I've always, well, not always, but I mean, my two main houses growing up in my home with my dad, where he still lives now, and the house we just sold, where I, so between those two houses, I lived for almost 40 years in between those two houses. And then a whole bunch of different apartments in between. It was always the living stuff on the first floor and the bedrooms upstairs. And so that's what I'm used to, and that's what I like. And I guess just as a woman, I don't necessarily feel the safest having, my bedroom window right here on the main floor where somebody can just walk right up to it and look in. So I don't like that, but having everything on the one floor has been amazing for my ankle, and it's very convenient too. I mean, even the kids like it. Second thing that kind of goes along with that is the location of our washer and dryer in this house. The washer and dryer are right here in the hallway, right next to the bedrooms, right next to the linen closet. That is so convenient. I cannot tell you how much time we save on laundry, not having to haul the baskets up and down, because at the old house, they had to go from all the way upstairs, down to the main floor, down to the basement to the laundry, and back up again. And that was such a bunch of work and so time consuming. And so not having to do that is really, really nice. I don't think I ever again want to have a place where the washer and dryer isn't right next to the bedrooms, because it's really nice. I've had it before. I had it in, well, where it was right next to the bedrooms in one other place, and where it's been on the main floor. Like in every place I rented it was. But that's really nice. Okay, and then the other two things that we really love, the central air. Having air conditioning is so nice. I don't ever, I can't. I have to have air conditioning for the rest of my life. That's a deal breaker if there's no air conditioning. And the attached garage is really nice. And I've had an attached garage before too, but having the attached garage is really nice. And I didn't think about how nice it is for Ben. Ben has very severe pollen allergies. And so the fact that he now can go straight from inside the house into the closed garage, into the car, he doesn't have to be exposed to anything outside. That's also true for like bad weather. When it's pouring down rain, I can still get into the car and not get wet because the car's inside the garage, right? Right on the other side of the door. And so that's been really nice. And it does make me feel a little bit more secure to be able to come and pull in and shut the garage door and then get, my stuff out of the car into the house and nobody can see me and stuff like that. So the attached garage is really nice, and I'm sure we will very greatly appreciate it in the winter. And I will also say the space is good. This is actually a pretty big place. This bedroom is huge. The kids' bedrooms are smaller, and the bathrooms are really small, which I'll put that right now onto one of my least favorite things is the bathrooms. The overall space of the place, this is a pretty huge place. We have plenty of room, in the living room and the kitchen and everything. The things we don't like, we do not like the location. That's a big one. We're really far from everything. The one thing we're a lot closer to, though, is our movie theater. It's very quick to our movie theater. The other day we went to go to Top Gun Maverick, and it was on 3 screens and a whole bunch, it was every hour. And the time that we went, it happened to be when it was in a really tiny little theater. And we were joking. We're like, what is that theater? It's like the closet theater. And when he showed us the seats, we're like, oh. And I said, what theater is it on at the next time? And he showed me, and it was on one of the big theaters. And I'm like, we'll come back. So I bought the tickets for that one. And then we came back home because it was only 2 minutes away. And then we went back, and it was no problem at all because we're really close to the movie theater now. But we're very far from school, where I'm going to have to take Ben to school. And we're far from the library, where we used to be really close to the library and things like that. And the main thing is we can't walk here. Megan and I have tried to take walks, and it just doesn't work. There's 2 reasons that you can't walk here. One is there's no sidewalk. Now, people do walk, and especially they walk their dogs. But there's no sidewalk, and you're on a country road, and it just doesn't feel very safe because you're walking in the road. And the second problem is we're on a dead-end cul-de-sac in a dead-end subdivision. The road that comes into our little neighborhood here is a dead end. There's no outlet. There's two roads here that are parallel to each other, our road and the next one. And they are both dead ends. And so there's no way to walk in a circle. There's no way to walk in a loop. The couple times that we've gone for a walk, we walk out our door, we go to the other street, we walk up that street to the end, and then we have to cut across everybody's yards to run back to our house. So it doesn't work. There's just really no way to take a walk out here. That is something that's Megan's been having a very hard time with. She really misses her daily walks. She loved our neighborhood. We've said that. We wish we could take this place and just put it where our old house was, because the benefits are nice, but the location is terrible. The problem is, in our town, there's nothing like this in a neighborhood. With sidewalks and stuff. Well, no, there isn't. There's nothing that's all on one floor. They haven't built all the other 3 bedrooms. They're all either split levels, the ones that are where there are neighborhoods with where you could walk. They're either split levels, or the 3 bedrooms are upstairs. They build these similar kind of style places. So these are new built, rentals, but the 3 bedrooms are all on the 2nd floor. And it's just, there's only really 2 places around here that have this, that have everything all on one floor. It's where we are, and going back toward town a little bit, which we looked at, and the lady who was going to show it to us didn't show up for the showing. She never cashed my check that I paid for the application fee, and so that one was a dead end. The location is not good. I don't like how far it is. I'm using a lot of gas, which is, before I used to be able to go like a whole month and I never would put gas in my gas tank because everything was so close. And now I'm having to get gas like twice a week. It's really, and with how expensive gas is, it's been really expensive for me. Okay, the other big thing we do not like here is the water. We're on a well and septic, and we've already had issues with that. Not that apparently weren't our fault, but anyway, it was right when we moved in. There were some issues with the toilets that they had to come fix. But anyway, I can't stand the water. Megan can't stand the water. And I'm not altogether sure, though, that it's just because it's well water. There is an all-house water filter. It's like a glass, plastic, clear canister with a filter in it downstairs in the basement. It's up on the ceiling. And I couldn't get the landlord to give me an answer about what that thing was. They're not terribly responsive. They are responsive. They get to things, but they're very slow. So it's like several days or weeks before you hear back from them. It's really kind of a pain. But they do fix everything, but they just take their sweet time doing it. But anyway, I posted it on Facebook, a picture of it, and I'm like, what is this thing? And are we supposed to be doing something with this? And a couple different people that are my Facebook friends sent pictures of theirs and said, yes, it's a whole house filter. It filters your water. It's something you have when you have well water. And you're supposed to be changing the filter in it once a month. I don't think the filter in that thing has been changed ever. And I don't know how long this place has been here. 3, 4, 5 years? I don't know. And our water tastes like sand. It's like you swallowed ocean water. And it's not good, and it makes Megan and I gag. I can't stand it even to brush my teeth. So I now have a bottle of bottled water in the bathroom that I pour into my cup that I use to take pills and brush my teeth and stuff. We're fine for washing my face or washing our hands or, cooking or doing laundry, but to actually drink it, it's unbearable. I don't think that they realized the issue with those filters, because what seemed like happened is it seemed like my bringing it up pointed out to them that, oh, and the friends that told me about these filter things told me they didn't think that they would want tenants changing them themselves, because apparently if you don't get the canister back on there exactly right, they'll leak. and it's apparently like really tricky and difficult to do, and you need some kind of special tool or something. Because then when I was communicating with my landlord about this, they said they were going to have a meeting about it. And then they actually came back and told me, you will not be responsible for changing that filter. We're going to come around and do all of them. But the people said, like, you're supposed to do it once a month. So what does that mean? They're going to come around once a month? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's been a month since I brought it up to them, and they still haven't come and done it. And their explanation was that they're trying to catch up on older work orders and maintenance orders and stuff. And then when they get caught up, they're going to come around and change everybody's. But like what, once? So I don't know what that means. So the water is definitely an issue. My lawn guy is here, which brings up the third thing I don't like about this place, which is that we are responsible for the lawn care. I hired a guy. I pay him $45 every time he comes to mow. So $45 a week, basically. He comes once a week on Fridays, which today is Friday. He does a very nice job. He has a riding lawnmower. It's a huge lawn. He has a riding lawnmower, and then he goes around and trims around things with a weed whacker, and then he blows all the clippings away. So he does a great job. I am still going to have to find somebody to plow the driveway for me in the winter. I haven't gotten around to that yet because it's way too much for us to shovel, especially like if it's early in the morning and we have to get to school or whatever. So that's something I don't like, because this is literally the only place we looked at where we were responsible for lawn care and snow removal. I don't like that it has a basement. It's not a huge deal since we don't really need to go down there for anything, but I wish it didn't. I don't like the kitchen appliances. They're fine, and the dishwasher's brand new, but they're very basic, and just from a comparison standpoint, the appliances I had at our house were much nicer. I had a much nicer range and oven. I had the same microwave because I brought it with me. I had a much nicer dishwasher, fancier, and I had a much bigger, nicer side-by-side freezer. So that's just a little bit of an adjustment thing, but I'm really not cooking at all because between my injury and having to stand to cook and just the fact that I don't really like the appliances, I just don't want to cook. And then the bathrooms are terrible. They're very, very, very small. I mean, the kids' bathroom is really small. My shower is really small, and it's like showering in a phone booth. It's really tight. The sinks are weird. They have the sink part is huge. Like, I've never seen a sink so big, but then there's no counter space around it. So I'm sorry, I don't need all that. Sink, make the sink's part smaller, like a normal size, and give us more counter space. And then one really big one is my bedroom here faces east, and there's only horizontal blinds on the window, and they do nothing to block the morning sunlight. And so since we've lived here, I really haven't been getting enough sleep, because no matter what time I go to bed at night, I get woken up at like 4:30, 5 in the morning by the sun. It is so bright in this room because of this window. And we tried everything. We went back to the store like 6 times trying to find a solution, but there's not enough room above the window to put the support thing that we would need to be able to hang any kind of a rod for curtains there. A tension rod won't work. It's too wide. The window is too big and too wide. And any kind of rod that, whether it be a traditional curtain rod or a tension rod, is too long, and you'd have to have a support thing in the middle, and there's no way to put one there. And so it's really sucked. I really don't like it. I've ended up having to start taking naps again because I'm so tired by the middle of the day because I get woken up so early. Even when I wear my eye mask, it's so bright that it comes in like around it still wakes me up. So I really don't like that. That's a major drawback to this place. The kids' rooms are nice and dark. They're on the west side of the house, and so they get the afternoon and evening sun in there, which is fine. But I get the very, very bright morning sun. The last thing I guess I would say is the quality of the materials. And I guess I just mean like it's not the highest quality stuff. The trim, it's wood trim, but the doors are hollow. The carpet in I wish they would have replaced the carpet between us and the previous tenant, because the carpet, I don't like it. It doesn't look nice. I don't like the color. It's just not the nicest. And then the tile in the bathrooms is fine, but then like the flooring in the main part of the house, it's like fake laminate wood or whatever. It's fine, but it's just not high quality materials. But that might be part of the reason the rent is what it is. I don't know. So those are the things we don't like about the house. Two other kind of practical things that are negatives about living here that we realized after we lived here for a while. One is it is kind of difficult with all of us in the same room. It is and it isn't. It's not as bad as I thought it was, but there's two things that are kind of problematic about it. One is watching TV. It hasn't come up very much, but we don't have the ability now for two people to watch TV at the same time or watch two different shows in two different rooms. We had 2 rooms and 2 TVs before, and we don't have that anymore. So we either all watch TV together, or if 1 or 2 people are watching TV, the other person has to be off doing something else in a different room or something. And so that's been a little bit tricky. And then sometimes for things on the computer, like if I want to watch YouTube and I can't stand to wear headphones, the kids wear headphones all the time, but I can't stand it. It hurts my ears and presses on my head funny, and I can't stand having headphones on. And I really don't like anything in my ears either. And so like I just don't use my headphones, and I keep stuff as quiet as I can, but like for like editing or things like that, it's been kind of tricky because sometimes, you know, all of us being in the same room, it can be a distraction. And then the other thing, this goes to my YouTube channel, is this house is not good for filming at all. Our other house was much better for filming. I mean, for one thing, it was just prettier. Our other house was a very pretty house, and it was very colorful and nice and had lots of good places where I could film. And this house is just kind of blah. And also the acoustics, especially out in the main room, are terrible for filming. And there's not good places for me to set up in front of a window with light. So it's not a good place for filming. And because of that, I'm just going to let you know that I'm not going to do hardly any videos like this anymore, where I do the filming at home and just talk to you, because it's not a good place for filming. It's just not worth it to me to go through the trouble of trying to make it better just to film a video now and then where I'm sitting here talking to you. So I know the light isn't very good. I've got lots of shadow. The sound probably isn't very good, things like that. So I'm probably going to really limit the videos that I film at home, and the vast majority of my videos will be out and about when we're out traveling. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this very long video, but I know some of you like the long ones, and I hope that you appreciate this update that I gave you on everything that's happening with my ankle and how we like where we are living now. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please be sure you subscribe. I have a whole wonderful series of videos coming from the cruise that we just took a few weeks ago, coming up very soon. Have a great day, everyone, and safe travels.